we had the NBA draft lottery, and this one was a major shocker to a lot of people. And if you haven't heard yet, my Dallas Mavericks end up with the number 1 overall pick after having a 1.8% chance to win it. That's San Antonio Spurs coming in at number 2, the Philadelphia 76ers at 3, Charlotte Hornets at 4, and number 5, the Utah Jazz. We have a screen up there, a graphic up if you want to see all the way 1 through 14. This was pretty big. This was really interesting. I will go last because I'm sure I have a lot to say, but there's been a lot of people out there. It's been speculation and all this different stuff. I'll save the best for last.
Go first. Go first. We want to hear how excited you are about this.
I'm actually extremely excited, man. This is just a big thing for Dallas, man. It's been such an up and down season. If you go the last 2 seasons, man, the Dallas was about a mid-tier team, it seemed like, last season, and then they make some trades, and then they make this a magical run to the finals. They get beat by Boston in the finals because Boston was just a flat-out better team. There's no way around it. Midway through, we all of a sudden get rid of not even past us at the trade deadline, we get rid of Luka Doncic. Heartbreaking to everybody. Apparently, Nico Harrison did not realize that it meant that much to all the Dallas fans. Still can't believe he actually had the nerve to actually say that one. But having said that, we end up getting Anthony Davis and a couple other picks, but nothing really to get excited about. So most Dallas fans were in the doom and gloom. I'll be completely honest. I didn't even think they had a chance at this at all. They had like I was saying from the start, they had a 1.8% chance to actually land the number 1 overall pick, and it actually worked. And I know there's a lot of people out there that's doing the whole speculation thing, and the last couple of times someone's made a major trade to the Lakers. They end up with the first pick. I've heard all these conspiracy things. So I thought I'd look into this a little bit more. This goes back to even last year. The Atlanta Hawks had a 3% chance to get the number 1 overall pick, and they got it. This isn't the first time a team that's had almost no chance to get it has got it. Orlando Magic back in 1993. The New Orleans Pelicans did the same thing. Now, granted, that had a little bit to do with the Lakers thing, which feeds people with conspiracy, but that's what this whole system is based off of. That even if you're one of the lower end teams, you have a chance to make yourself better. And the thing that's great about this is that the Dallas Mavericks has made it very clear they do not plan on getting rid of the pick, and they are going straight after Cooper Flagg. So this lineup is going to be very, very interesting. You're going to have Cooper Flagg, AD, Kyrie Irving, and whatever other pieces they're able to pull together in the offseason. Cooper Flagg seems like he's very excited and was shocked that he's going to be able to go to a team that's ready to compete right off the bat. I just think it's really interesting, man. I'm excited. I'm hoping that this actually works out, and this is going to be really cool for Dallas. Dallas needs it. This has been a huge gut wrench and a huge gut punch after losing Luka. I've heard rumors that they're still trying to come up with ideas on how to get Luka back. I don't see that one happening. I think they're moving forward, and I think this is what Nico wanted, more of a larger, bigger team. And Cooper Flagg can play a little bit better, can play better defense than Luka can. He's an interesting character, man. He has a lot of different skills that Luka had and doesn't have. So I think this is going to be a huge step in the right direction for the Dallas Mavericks. BC, you're up top, my man. What's your thoughts on this one, and how do you think the draft fared out?
I mean, for Dallas, it can't be, like you said, after getting pretty much the biggest gut punch in the last decade easily in team history, this is the best news for them that they could have ever had. So you're getting a guy that is basically, again, a lot's to be seen, but if we're going by pre-draft measurables, combine stats, and everything like that, he's a great fill-in as far as like what Luka was expected to be coming into the NBA. A little bit taller, a little bit quicker, a little bit better defender, just as good of a shooter and everything like that. But again, obviously we got to see how his skills translate to the league. But as far as prospects go, it doesn't really get much better, especially in this year's draft. So for Dallas, for you guys, it's a great option for sure. Whether or not it's conspiracies, we can talk about that another time. But tin hats and everything. I'm all out of tinfoil, so I can't put it on right now. But I am happy though for you guys, because again, it seemed like after the Doncic trade, everybody, even us, we kind of took a few little shots here and there. It was just like, oh, sorry there, buddy, But it is good though to see you guys like Dallas is a proud franchise. They've had a lot of greats come through there, and it sucked for sure seeing you guys lose your franchise. But now you've got somebody young you can build around. Hopefully, though, Nico doesn't screw this one up and you guys lose them to the Lakers in like 5 years. Hopefully.
Hopefully not. Man, this is great for the Mavs for sure. It's great for the Mavs. Cooper Flagg, he's going to be a generational talent for sure. He can score, he can defend, he's quick, he's 6'10". He's going to be paired up great with AD. If AD does stay in Dallas. Having Kyrie at the guard position, even though he probably won't play till mid-season, coming down the tail end of next season. You still got Clay there for another 2 years. You got a good few role players that can actually help compete with anybody in the West. Hopefully, Daniel Gafford gets to stay there as well. That would be a good 1-2 punch with him and Derek Lively. So it's a good move for the Mavs for sure. I think they should use the number 1 pick on Cooper Flag. If they don't, maybe trade it away for someone like Devin Booker or Tyrese Maxey or Giannis. Maybe try to use that leverage right there for teams that are trying to contend right now, but they need to make some moves with their team and try to get some more pieces, some young pieces. When it comes down to the conspiracy thing, though, I don't know, man. I think it just solidifies right there that the NBA is just rigged on this part with the lottery, bro. And in my opinion, honestly, they should get rid of the lottery, bro. Why is it that a play-in team, they made this whole play-in tournament 2-3 years ago where a team in 10th seed can have a chance of getting into the playoffs, but then now a team with a chance in the play-in gets the number 1 pick in the NBA draft? I don't think that's fair at all. I think they should go the way that the NFL draft goes, and the worst team in the league gets the number 1 pick. That's it.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. It is for everybody to try to compete with each other, at least. Because right now, Cooper Flag will probably be going to the Washington Wizards or the Charlotte Hornets. And maybe they can compete in the East, in a weaker East. Obviously, the West is the strong suit. But in a weaker East, you put them in the Washington Wizards, maybe they could get the 10th seed, and maybe they can get into the play-in. Maybe. But now you take that chance away. I'm going to say, you give it to the Dallas Mavericks, because how is it that the Dallas Mavericks get the number 1 pick after they trade away their superstar player to a franchise that has had a superstar player since they've been around, since we could think the beginning of time with the NBA, and now they just get it out of nowhere. They get the number 1 pick after trading away their superstar to a team that's always had a superstar. I don't know. It sounds like some collusion. Sounds like some collusion there for you fantasy sports players. I know you know about collusion. It sounds like it to me. I don't know. But
I mean,
my tinfoil has in the kitchen. I just don't want to get it right.
Yeah. And I mean, you even look back to the history of the lottery, the very first lottery, the whole note from the envelope that had New York's pick was dented. And how convenient for the Knicks to be able to get a franchise-changing center in the biggest market in sports. Patrick Ewing,
do shit with it.
Exactly. I mean, they made it to an NBA Finals once. Got absolutely dog walked, but
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not going to be, it did happen. Worked off my team. So I will take the other approach that I could see where people would maybe have some sort of, feel a certain way about it. I can understand that. I'm not going to be totally naive and act like I don't. But having said that, though, you're completely right. If people don't like this, they need to change the way the lottery is, because this ultimately does give anybody the chance. Now, my other point would have been, who was in that, who had a chance at it as well, was Oklahoma City. So would have people been up in arms with Oklahoma City because they've been bad for so long and been able to draft really well? Would that have been a problem now because they're good? Like it's a battle that people are fighting, and it's only just because it has to do with the Lakers. If Luka got traded to the Bucks or the Pacers or a little bit of a smaller market team, I don't think the issue would have been even a problem. I don't think anybody would have had much to say about it. But it's the fact it's the Lakers, and either you love it or hate the Lakers. So I think that's where part of this conspiracy theory is growing from, that they want the major markets. Like you were talking about Patrick Ewing and the Knicks. You got, obviously the Lakers always seem like they end up with stars. So I could see where that would be. But the whole point of it is that San Antonio still ended up with the 2nd pick, and they were awful as well. So it still kind of worked out in the way, and San Antonio has 2 picks in this top 14 draft. So they're going to be able to rebuild pretty fast, and they have one of the greatest players greatest young players. Hopefully health conditions work out with Wemby. But if they land on these next 2 draft picks and they have a big 3 in 3 years, is that a problem now? So I just feel like it's an argument that people want to have just because it has the Lakers in it. It'd be the same thing if it happened to the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers. These large market teams. People just hate whenever they do it. But then here's the flip side of it, though. Here's the absolute flip side of this thing too: is that everybody's kind of worried right now because no major market team will be getting into the playoffs. There's very little. The New York Knicks are probably the largest market team right now going, and if they happen to lose in there, Indiana and Minnesota, is that really driving ratings up at all? But yet people would be excited if the small guy gets it, but then they'll be mad if they actually make it to the finals because they're good now. So it's kind of a lose-lose, I feel like sometimes.
No, yeah, it definitely is. And just going back, we watch the NBA. I'm just gonna speak on the NBA in general, right? We watch the NBA because we love watching basketball. We love watching some sort of player. People in general, they have a liking to a certain player, a certain team, or just a sport itself, right? But at the end of the day, it's a business. And just like any other business, you have to market. You have to look at what brings in the money. You have to look at all the numbers, all the analytics. And when it comes down to it, the Los Angeles Lakers are one of the biggest reasons why the NBA is so big and will continue to grow, because they have so much history and they continue to have success. They continue to bring in players. They have one of the greatest players ever played on an NBA court in their arena on every given home game in their roster. And now they bring in international superstar talent from the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers, and they bring more revenue that way. They're trying to be a global sport, which they are already, but they're trying to be even bigger with the audience, right? You bring in an international superstar like Luka Doncic, trust me, that's going to bring in more money for the sport and the business itself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so if you're look on the graphic on here and stuff, if you look at these teams in here, so I guess I'm just trying to go off of why people are making a big deal of how the Mavericks ended up with it and everything like that. So if you have Houston Rockets at number 10 in here, Houston Rockets were the number 2 seed in the West. Did they really need the number 1 overall pick? But you can't get upset when some of these guys, they made a lot of moves and made trades to be able to make these things happen, to be able to still be able to rebuild. So, Philadelphia is the number 3 pick in here. How many times has Philadelphia been picking in the top 5 in the last 2 decades or last 10 decades, and they don't do anything with it? And that's another thing a point that needs to be made is if you look at the number 1 overall pick history, especially in the NBA, it doesn't always pan out. I think Cooper Flag is a rarity, and I think Cooper Flag will work out. But if you look through these number 1 overall picks, it doesn't all of a sudden mean that you're going to get the number 1 overall player in the draft. You don't always land on a Paulo. You don't always end on a LeBron or, I was looking back on it just to look at percentages of it. The Cleveland Cavaliers end up drafting Anthony Bennett. How many years did he even play? In the NBA, if at all, really, and they end up winning the draft lottery. So it doesn't always mean that you're going to make the right decision and get the right pick just because you end up with the number 1 overall pick. We were just talking about how great Luka is. Luka was number 6, and it came out for a trade as well, So sometimes these guys fall, So I think that the system is I don't really like the draft lottery system. I think it's kind of silly to me, really. I don't like the ping pong idea. I get what they're trying to do and give everybody pretty much a fair chance because the NBA kind of was in a point in time that was very much into the tanking situation, trust the process and all. And so they're trying to break that up, I feel like. But they probably can come up with something else, even if it's the like you were talking about the NFL, how the guests go from worst to first and so on and so forth. But I think there should be some sort of change to it. I don't necessarily like it, and until that happens, you're going to have teams like the Dallas Mavericks who were arguably in a playoff team. If they would have never lost Luka, it would have been a different story. They would not have been able to have this pick, but they made a move, a bold move at that. I would not have made it, but they did make a bold move. And now it worked out in their favor that they had a 1.8% chance. That's why you play it. That's why you play the lottery. That's why you play any of these things. You end up winning. 1.8 chance. 1.8 better is better than 0%.
True.
Yeah, it's just funny to me how they trade away their superstar and the next draft they get the number 1 pick.
Right. I am not going to be super naive and like totally Dallas Mavericks fan on this one and be like, oh, what are you talking about? I understand
Yeah.
where the narrative could be. I'm not like totally naive with it. All I'm saying is that what Herm Edwards say, you play to win the game. They took a chance, they made it, and it worked out in their favor. So if San Antonio would have got it again, like I was saying, they have one of the best players already in Wemby. They made a huge trade get here in Fox. So if they got the number 1 overall pick again and got Cooper and Wemby, is that a problem for San Antonio? It's just it doesn't really work out. It sucks for Dallas. They lost Luka, but I think that this is just a rarity. It worked out. I mean, what else can you say? It does seem a little bit odd. I can give it that, but I think it just worked out.
Yep. Well, now it's time to see just how good Dallas really is going to be. You get gifted with 2 potential generation talents in Cooper Flag and Luka Doncic. You already screwed it up with Luka. If you mess this one up, Nico, on.
Okay,
yeah,
so
and I think.
I just wanted to ask you, as a Dallas Mavericks fan, would you prefer keeping the number 1 pick and selecting Cooper Flag, or trading it away to try to get another superstar on your squad?
So I've been trying to go debating this one for the last couple of days since it was pretty much announced that Dallas has already kind of said they're not going to give away. But it's GMs. Whoever thought Luka was even on the table to get traded as well. So these guys aren't always
going to show their cards.
Right. I highly doubt that they're going to make this move. But having said that, I kind of think that the way Nico wants to build the team, and if that's the guy that's in charge, then Cooper Flag makes sense because he wants a big defensive team. Now, if it was Mark Cuban, how Mark Cuban liked to play, and when Donnie Nelson was in charge and all that stuff back in the day, they were a lot more fast-paced, and I think that it would have been a lot smarter to get rid of that pick and get a bunch of faster-paced guards and stuff in there. But I think if Nico's going to be in charge of making all these decisions, and his vision is that he wants a big defensive team that you can't score on them, but they can score on you, then Cooper Flag makes the most sense. You could possibly trade him for like a Giannis, possibly, but I don't think that Giannis fits into what they want to do either, because you already have the big man there for it. I mean, the Cooper Flag plays a little bit more agile. You know what I'm saying? He can almost be like a point forward. I think this makes the most sense for them to keep him and build around what they got. Maybe get another high profile scorer and a guard. A number 2. Klay Thompson has played the Klay Thompson pickup. I thought it was going to be a lot better than it was. Klay Thompson's kind of, getting past his prime and it's kind of showing in there. Kyrie, hopefully he can come back. They need to get another guard. If they're going to land Cooper Flag, which it looks like they will, either via in the offseason at a free agency, get a score, and this will make a lot of sense, or with the next pick, then draft another guard or something. They're going to have to get, I think, just another score to help out Kyrie because he's going to be coming back off that injury as well. So I think, yes, the answer to your question, I think keep the pick, get Cooper Flag. Only reason I would not even consider it is because Nico Harris wants to do a bigger a bigger team in this, and he's a bigger forward that can almost play like the point forward. So I think it makes sense the way he wants to design his team.
I was going to ask, do you think then it would be smart, because you're going to keep the pick with Cooper Flag. You talk about building around Cooper. Are you going to try to still keep some of these veterans like a Kyrie and an AD? Do you think you could still win with that core? Do you think it's better to just kind of blow it up and just, tank for a little bit, or roll with what you got?
I think you roll with what you got, especially because you roll with what you got, because if you're going to already get rid of AD, then you essentially gave rid of Luka for absolutely nothing. I think that they had this in the vision that they wanted a big defensive, taller, a bigger defensive team, and this is what they're building right now. And it happened to work out in their favor that they got a bigger player. I mean, could you imagine this lineup though? If you just break it down out there, Derek Lively, Anthony Davis, Cooper Flag, and then maybe Gafford out there at the same time. Like, how the hell are you going to be able to get in the paint on that? Like, they're all monsters of dudes. So it just becomes out of scoring. And if Klay Thompson can get his rhythm back and shoot better, and Kyrie can shoot better, that's going to be a really tough team to go against.
Well, and also too, again, we talked about, Flag being a good defender and like a point forward and everything, but he can score too, and he can shoot. He's pretty efficient from all over the floors. So he's got a good true shooting percentage, and I like his ability to space the floor. Maybe take some pressure off of Klay and maybe help Klay kind of find his rhythm again a little bit going into next year.
It's going to be definitely interesting.
So I'm always in the mindset of win now, right? Which is why, like, sometimes I argue with a lot of Heat fans because they were talking about right now. I don't know if you know the whole controversy, but that pick is supposed to be ours. I don't know if you know that, but that Mavericks pick is supposed to be ours, and we're supposed to have the number one pick if we didn't make it in the play, right?
Yeah.
But I'm always in the tone of trying to win now, and I feel like I would trade away that number one pick and try to get Devin Booker or Tyrese Maxey, right? Because I'm just trying to win now. And I feel like that trade for AD, sending away Luka, was because you're trying to win now. Because
Mhm.
AD's already, 28, 29.
Isn't
Kyrie's
he about-
already 30, 31. Like,
Uh,
they're already either entering into the 30s or already in their 30s, right? So
mhm.
it's like, how long are you going to wait to try to win a championship? Not saying that Cooper Flag can't get you there, because I think he can. I think he can bring scoring. He can bring defense, right? But I rather have a solidified, and in this sense, a solidified guard who can give me 20, 25, even 30 points per game, paired up next to AD, paired up next to Kyrie when it comes back healthy, a Klay Thompson who's at the end of his career, but he could still shoot a 3-pointers when you need him. PJ Washington, he's a great defender and he's a 3-point guy as well. Keep Daniel Gafford so you could have those twin towers right next to AD, and Derek Lively, another athletic big. I feel like that team put together is just great for success. Cooper Flag, yes, he's gonna for sure he's gonna influence that as well. But then you're gonna have a fourth big that you're gonna have to put into those roles, when I rather have a guard who can be quick, who could shoot the three, and he could be elusive and a playmaker as well as Kyrie. But I get why people want to keep Cooper Flag for sure, and especially Mavericks fans, 100%. I'm just saying that I think I would trade away the pick to get a superstar guard in return right now.
I could see it. I could definitely see it. I think there's definitely an argument to be made on both sides of that one for sure. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be up here saying that I don't think that the thought not crossed my mind of, okay, what can we get for this now? Is this our opportunity? Like you brought up a Giannis, something like that. Could you bring something like a guy like that in here? But I feel like that if you believe in what Cooper Flag, the potential and how they're hyping him up, then you keep it because you've already got rid of one of those guys already. You had one of those guys in your building, and he is a definitely different than Luka, and the aspect of like, and not even going to go on the Luka out of shape bit again or something like that. But if you look at the two of them, Cooper Flag is definitely a lot more lean and ready to go. Luka, no matter what, even coming in, MVP of the EuroLeague, all that stuff, he never was in that great of shape going in. Luka is still one of my all-time favorite players, and I will still always be a Luka Doncic fan. But this is where this actually seems like, okay, maybe Nico was on the right track. Maybe Nico knew something that we all didn't know, and that's why they pulled the trigger, and it worked out in their favor that they were able to get another generational talent, is what most people seem to think. So I think that's why you kind of have to keep this pick, so that it keeps the fans a little bit excited that, hey, we did this for a reason. We ended up winning the draft lottery. We got the pick. We got the guy to replace Luka that can do things that Luka can't do, because he's a hell of a lot better defender, it seems like. And if you remember going back to the Olympics, they invited Cooper Flag. And the reports coming out was when he was playing with all those vets, he was dominating. Like LeBron, all these guys came back saying, like, this kid is the real deal. Like, he is something special. And he showed highlights and flashes of it in the March Madness tournaments and in his whole season. So I think that's one of those things you kind of have to keep this pick just for that reason. So it gives fans a little bit of peace of mind that saying, hey, we had a chance at another worldly talent, and we gave it away for another player or something, you know? So I think it just shows the loyalty for a Dallas fan, which they need right now.
So are you saying you agree with the conspiracy? Is that what you're saying?
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
No, I do not believe in the conspiracy. I think that I could see where people would make the calls with it and draw the lines together. But no, I don't. I think they just happened to get lucky and it worked out. But you can also say being a Mavs homer, I get it. You know, you can say that on the comments all you want to find. I understand it. But this isn't the first time this has happened. It happened even as last year. 3% chance to win. Atlanta Hawks won it. Nobody seemed to be up in arms about it.
It's exactly what someone who'd be in on the conspiracy would say.
Right.